Good morning, everybody. My name is Warren Yap, and I'm part of the customer experience team over here at Oracle. Firstly, I'd like to just thank everybody for taking your time out of their diaries to actually have a chat with me today and to actually see what we can actually achieve together. So let's just get it started. The agenda for today is essentially 5 different things. I wanted to take you through the current challenges that you might be experiencing. I've had a couple chats with some of you in the room already about what's happening with the business, and also I guess what's happening with the industry that you're currently playing in. And then second one which is like what I like to call the art of the possible. What does that exactly mean? Is that I would like to take you through a couple of real life case studies or something like that, and also show you what is actually possible for you to do with your customers at this current state. So the third one, how can we make it a bit more simple for you? What are the technologies behind all of those all of the things that I'm about to be talking about? And then the fourth one is case studies and people or companies that we actually work with currently. And fifth are the next steps. How can we actually progress this further? How can we make sure that the stakeholders are being well looked after if you do choose that Oracle will be the partner for this particular endeavor. So firstly, what are the challenges? And obviously in the spirit of everything digital, I'm using hashtags here. So we have quite a number of challenges here, which have been identified by some of you in the room. Firstly, double sales in the next 4 years. You'd like to also expand internationally, develop a distribution network and partner network, accelerate deal handling and manage pricing better, respond to the growing volume of quotes, and increasing productivity and performance of sales and service agents. So really there's a lot of different types of challenges that you're going through. And the biggest one that I see that it fits with everybody within the industry is that business customers now expect a digital customer experience. And we're actually seeing that a lot more B2B customers are actually starting to mimic the way that consumers are trying to, I guess, navigate their way through digital. So it's a very exciting time. It's a very very competitive time as well, because your customers are actually on the web looking at your competitors, making sure that they're actually going for maybe the best of breed, or going for somebody who can actually partner with them throughout their whole customer life cycle. So here's a graph by McKinsey. I think it's fairly straightforward. We have the laggards on one side, we have the leaders on the other side, and then we just have the average players in the middle. So what really is happening here is that you can obviously see there's a lot of laggards that are there, and the leaders are quite a small bunch that's there. So what are these leaders actually doing? What is the impact that they're having on the actual graph here, and how are they achieving this? And the impact is actually quite clear. We have revenue growth growing by 5 times. We have operating profits growing by 8 times, and the return to shareholder is actually 2 times. But as I read through the report from McKinsey, it actually goes up to about 5 to 6 times for shareholders, and that's obviously great for any of the stakeholders that you've got in the business who are aiming to obviously grow their shares by quite a significant amount. So it's a very compelling thing here, and we want to understand how these companies within your industry are actually achieving these amazing feats. So let me I guess give you a bit of a foundation of where these pressures are coming from, and try to show you a little bit later how certain companies are actually working a way around it. So first we have the customer. The customer has changed dramatically. They want a seamless experience. They want it to be personalized. They want it to be simple, and they also expect it in any channel that they choose 24/7. It's an immense expectation to have, but it's also doable, especially with the products that you're obviously having a look at. And the next big one is obviously your competitors. They're starting to use different types of technologies. They're trying to create a competitive advantage within the coffee industry. They're trying to find new ways to engage their customers. They're trying to, make everything a little bit simpler for their customers as well. And with a lot of new companies that are being born in the cloud, they understand what they need, and they're actually starting with the foundation of utilizing cloud to scale with their company, and also to be able to be kept up to date with all the new technologies that are out there. So what can you do? You have to be agile. You have to use the data that you've got within the business. You have to utilize your partner network, and you have to utilize the best of breed technology, the Internet of Things. All of these things are creating these pressures for you to become innovative. And the way that you're taking it is that you want to understand what your customers are doing, you want to understand what your competitors are doing, and to be able to create that innovative aspect of it. So essentially, what should you do, and how can you do it? Well, let's go through that. So what is Smarter CX, and what does it look like? And this is what I call the art of the possible, and that is essentially how are we going to get there? What is a typical customer life cycle going to look like? What is the journey going to look like? And this is what I've actually drawn up for you. So Chris is a small-time coffee player. He has a couple of shops around, and he's actually looking for some new machines. So he starts his search on Google, like most people do, and he browses a couple different websites, and he actually comes across Hot Coffee's website. As he's looking through, a chat desk opens up, and Melanie, who's a service desk agent, asks if he needs any help. Chris gladly accepts and inputs his details and chats with Melanie about the various different types of options that he was looking at, and looking for the different types of information that Melanie could possibly provide. And Melanie and Chris are exchanging different thoughts and ideas, and Chris is extremely happy with the information that he gets, and he starts to continue his search on other websites. Then here's the key differentiator. Chris is then called by James about his inquiry yesterday, or it could even have been on the same day. James is then able to further qualify the opportunity by asking the relevant questions, making sure that he's thinking along the right lines, and also understanding what Chris's real needs are. Chris is extremely amazed with the service, and because of the seamless interactions between James and Melanie. And then James involves a partner. Now the partner comes in and sees, looks at Chris's coffee shop, and also gives him a brief rundown of how the implementation works, and I guess a couple different options. And here's the real magic and where it actually happens. The partner brings out his iPad, and he shows Chris the relevant options, as well with the pricing that he can actually get from all of it. Chris is amazed. He looks at all the pricing. It seems relatively standard with implementation fees, and Chris actually signs on the iPad right then and there. And the partner is obviously working through the portal that Hot Coffee can provide. So the partner then works with the distributor via the portal. He's seeing whether or not there's any stock available, and seeing who's the actual local distributor who's relatively close to bring down that ETA. All while this is happening, Chris is kept up to date with the order, as well as James in the inside sales team. And then Chris and the partner are notified about the delivery, so they can work out the relevant times, or the right times for them to actually come in and install it together. So everything is organized, everything is installed, and then James calls Chris to make sure that everything is okay. To me, this is what a great customer experience is like. Everybody was kept up to date, everybody knew exactly what was needed to complete the task, and everybody made sure that the customer was kept happy with throughout the whole situation. So really, how can we make this simpler for you? I mean, we've got relatively different types of people within the room, but we all have departments that are interlinked with each other. We've got sales and service here. So firstly, we have the sales leader, just because the challenges that you're experiencing are mainly within the sales life cycle. So, for the sales leader, we give you full visibility of sales targets and achievements. We can drive sales rep behavior through to territories and incentives. We can increase price and contract governance to drive higher margins. And all the while, we're keeping your customers engaged earlier by accelerating and closing deals faster. The process begins by identifying whether or not a certain prospect is a lead or an opportunity. And once this has been established, we can set them into different types of categories and see what is the best plan of action to actually closing this deal. So how are we different to competitors? What makes Oracle so much more different to other people? Well, I understand that you're talking to Salesforce and Microsoft. What really sets us apart from these guys is that you're looking at a CRM tool. You're looking at a tool that can help your sales staff and your service agents to better engage your customers. And this is where we really differentiate ourselves. We not only do CRM, we do ERP, we do social, we do human capital management, we do digital marketing. There's a lot of different types of things that we do. We actually have such a wide depth and breadth of products to be able to take care of your business from end to end. Salesforce and Microsoft don't actually have the capabilities to do that. But I will say that, when we come head to head with CRM, there are very little differences between all of us. But when we look at the bigger picture, I believe that Oracle is actually one of the only companies to be able to partner with you throughout your whole journey. And this is where also we differentiate ourselves. We're looking at sales. We're looking at how can we empower your sales staff. But I remember from previous discussions that you wanted to keep service at a very high standard. So that's why we also have a service solution for that. So for the service leader, we can give you a dashboard of predictive KPIs to also guiding decisions for your service desk agents by also delivering a great customer satisfaction rate. We have NPS scores that are growing at immense rates, double digits, higher than industry averages. The measurement of cross and upsell opportunities. Your service desk agents are able to work together with your sales staff, like in the example that I gave you before, where Melanie was working together with James to create a great experience for Chris. And here we can also proactively contact customers for a better service. Melanie can also give another call just to make sure that the service was great, making sure that the equipment was installed correctly, and just making sure that Chris is actually being well looked after. So when we're combining both of these departments together, we're actually creating something that's amazing for the customer. We're creating the art of the possible. So as you can see from the graph, the different types of solutions that we've got running in the background, there's a lot of different things that are going into it. There's a lot of different types of things that underpin these solutions. And in no way am I trying to sell you the whole thing. As I said before, we are the type of company that wants to partner with you along with the goals that you're trying to achieve. So obviously it makes sense to pick the right things for the right types of challenges that you're trying to embark on. And we would like to grow with you, of course. So the fourth one is customer success. We've got 3 different ones. We've got Avaya. I'm sure you've heard of these guys before. They wanted to gain the ability to support a network of 10,000 plus partners. And by doing this, by joining up with Oracle, we're actually able to do all of that for them. And to also increase revenue by a staggering amount, because it's giving you, it gave them a better view of what was actually happening with the opportunities that they've got. Another one is Flowserve, and Flowserve saw a 300% increase in quote volume with quotes 95% on time. As you mentioned before, you had a growing number of quotes coming through, and you wanted to be able to actually meet the ETAs on those quotes a lot quicker. And I'm sure everybody has heard of Peugeot as well. Peugeot had a 60K increase in new leads with unified data with dealers and agents. And as you can see, these companies are getting incremental value by combining services from Oracle. They had different types of services. As I mentioned before, Avaya had sales, Peugeot had some servicing and marketing and sales within it. So there's really a lot of different types of things that we can actually achieve together. And really, how can we start all of this now? I would love to hear what your feedback is. I would like to understand, maybe what are some of the key areas that you would like to focus on. And really, I want to also see how we can proceed further. Would you like to, like me to do another presentation with the stakeholders, or what else would you like to know so that we can actually make sure that the solution is right for you? But if there's no other questions, thank you very much for having me here, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.
Cool. Yeah, let's finish right in 15 minutes.